surfing. All my legs are hurting. Feels like it's been burning. Surfing on the beach. Falling off the board, I'm drowning. Thought it was like Baywatch. Now I don't know what to do. Surfing with you. Our heads get lost, like the feeling won't go. Feels like I'm in some kind of trouble. Bringing it to you. My head, I feel like the feeling won't go. Feels like I'm in this world to stumble into you.
Okay, so I guess we'll get started here in just one sec. I'm streaming on a bit higher of a bitrate today, or resolution, whatever you want to say. If that starts to lag a bit or drop frames, someone just shout out in chat and I will probably lower it. But anyways, let's get started here. So we're going to be picking off where we left off in Group B. So yesterday we did all of Group A, and we did Frogs versus Purge and Frogs versus Anteri. So now we're going to be going into Frogs versus Manipulation. Okay, so starting up here in the top left, we have in a pink, playing Zerg. It is Frogs. And in the bottom right, we have in the yellow, playing Protoss. It is Manipulation. And I'm fairly sure Manipulation chose to play Protoss only this tournament, which is pretty odd from him. Normally decides to play random, but oops. This time I guess he just wanted to play Protoss. And he's definitely been a scary opponent recently. I think he's really been getting back into shape. I recently in the Alpha League, when we played versus Psionic Aftermath, he did take out Jin, who was a Grandmaster's Terran. So, I mean, Mandy's looking pretty good right now. I would definitely be scared to play him if I was Frogs. And especially it looks like Frogs is just going for a standard build. If I was Frogs, I probably would have just proxy hatched or some other bullshit versus Manny. Especially because Manny gets tilted pretty easily from shit like that, so you know, you can throw out things like that versus him, and I think it's definitely better in your favor to just like mess up the game, like do as much as you can to throw things out of balance. Farg's being really careful actually. He's just scouting pretty much all of his main with that drone there. And both players just going for pretty standard builds here. We don't really see any tech just yet. Manny should be plopping down whatever tech he wants once the cyber core is done. And you can see it's pretty well timed out, so he'll have 150 gas whenever his Cyber Core is done, so he can start Warp Gate and start whatever tech he wants, and a Stalker. So as soon as he gets to Minerals Forward, he's probably going to plop down a Stargate, or Twilight, or Robo, or really whatever the hell he wants to throw down. And meanwhile, Frog's taking his third base, and there we do have the tech. Will be a Twilight Council come down here. I haven't seen Manny's standard PvZ in quite a while. Manny is a player I really feel like he gets cheesed more often than not. I'm not sure if he's just unlucky, but every time I watch him play PvZ, it's always like Ling Floods or like Ling Drops or something else. So I never really get to see him play in like a standard long ZVP. And that's assuming I get to see him play Protoss. Normally he does play random, so I often see his Zerg or Terran a bit more. Even though I think Protoss is probably his strongest race. And it looks like he will be going for Charge. So we've seen this a lot in the ZVP meta. Players going for Charge Zealot drops. And it's actually a really strong build. We've seen players like Scarlet even struggling to hold it versus Neeb at Montreal and at some other tournaments. So it's a very strong build. And I'm not sure if Frogs is going to be able to hold it, especially from a player's skill of manipulation. One thing that can go in Frogs' favor here is the fact that he's not really hiding his build here. It's really telegraphed. Like if you come out front here and you see this, I'm not sure if Frogs has seen the Robo facility. I think he should have. But then you go over here, and you see that the Twilight Council is upgrading, and there's a couple gateways in the main. There's not a whole lot else this could be. Blink Stalker drops are not something you really see, and Adept drops have really not been in favor in PvP as of late. Or any matchup, really. You don't really see them much anymore. So this is really the build of the month. We should 7 gateways coming up. So this is going to be a really big commitment. And if you'll notice, Manny hasn't taken the gases on his natural, because of course, with this build, you pretty much just need a shit ton of minerals so that you can just spam Zealots out of this Warp Prism. Now, Frogs is going for a pretty good response to this, though. He is getting Roaches, and he is getting a Baneling Nest. I'm not sure if this Baneling Nest is a bit too late, but these Roaches will definitely be helpful in dealing with this. The big issue will be catching everything together. If Manny comes in at a time when Frogs doesn't have everything prepared, he's going to have some issues. And it looks like Frogs knows pretty much exactly what's going on here. He's going to pick off the Zealot pretty much right away, that's pretty good. But a bunch more Zealots are getting warped in here now. And probably going to see some more just continuing to drop out. That's a lot of Roaches though, and with some good kiting here from Frogs, he can definitely take on these Zealots, but of course these Zealots do have charge and they are still very strong. Getting into a good position, abusing the fact that the melee Zealots can only attack one unit at a time in a space like that. Really needs to be moving these Roaches out to the front here. And you do have another Zealot drop here in the natural location actually, a lot of drones going down here. And even worse, the Queen's going down. That's going to delay the larva production for quite a while. And that's just going to allow him to continue to trade cost efficiently. This isn't all in. So, the build that manipulation went for specifically isn't all in. There are variations of this build where you don't have to be all in. But this one, with how many gates he's built, unless he does a hell of a lot of damage, there's no way he transitions into a normal game. A couple of these ults getting cut out here, but that Warp Prism is going to head into the main. And that's not even in a blind spot, so Frogs, unless he deduces for cognitive reasoning, or whatever you want to call that, he really has no clue that that's there until now. The Zealots are coming in now, and they kill a couple drones in the natural, and now they're killing the Queens. Not the greatest of trades versus the Queens, but still, they're getting a lot of damage done. And they're just going to continue to trade, like, This isn't at all about the first wave or even the second wave. It's just like the continual pressure of Zealots. And Manny's going all over the place with these. He's sending them in, you know, at the natural, at the third base, at the main. He's just pressuring wherever he can and catching frogs where he's not. And so, even though this isn't all in, looks like Manny will be transitioning behind us. As we can see, he's going to be plopping down at third base. And Dark Templars behind us, which is a decent follow-up. I'm not sure how well it's going to fare. Frogs does have a lair, so he does have access to Overseers. He does have some Evo Chambers coming up, so he will have some Spore Crawlers in his mineral lands probably, especially to deal with that War Prism. Zealots coming in here, getting some more drone kills. Nothing here actually. All the units in the middle of the map. And Frogs looks like he's going to be going for an attack. These Zealot drops are getting a hell of a lot of damage done. That natural hatchery looks like it will be going down. I don't think there's anything Frogs can do to stop this. And we don't even have that many units in the production tab currently. Looks like, I'm not sure if Frogs... No, Frogs is a 5 block. That natural hatchery going down is quite a big deal. He's not that far behind in drones. But still, like, with the loss of the production, like, level-wise from that hatchery, he's going to have a big issue here going into the later stages of this game, if it gets so far. But it looks like at the same time, Frog's going in, he's going to try to take out this third base location, even diving into the main, or the natural, sorry, and pick off a pylon. But that's a lot of Immortals out here. And Balians and Roaches, not the best versus Immortals. And Frogs, oops, Frog's losing a hell of a lot of units here. These Balians have got some pretty good connects versus these Zealots, but I don't think that there's anything Frogs can do behind us. And manipulation, going to take game number 1. All right. These games were also played in an old patch, which happens every fucking 2 weeks, I swear. So I'm going to have to relog. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to be loading into game number 2 here, between manipulation. So let's just get that pesky timer off the screen. Manipulation and Frogs. So spawning down here in the bottom left, we have in the pink, playing Zerg, it is Frogs. And up here in the top right, we have in yellow, playing Protoss, it is manipulation. Oops. And manipulation letting the world know he hates this map. This probe is pretty early, heading across the map. We don't see a gateway built yet. Are we going to see a forge? Oh no, I guess that's just a bit late. That's whatever. It's not the end of the world. Defend hatchery. Alright, so Frogs went for a very early pool this game, or early enough. It's not going to be cheesing with it probably, but just being a bit defensive. Because especially when your opponent just straight hit says at the start of the game, I hate this map. I don't enjoy playing long games on this map. I am inclined to go for shorter games on this map. It's not really something that you should play a macro game into. Or a greedy macro game, I should say. And link speed on the way, a couple Zerglings. Nothing crazy yet. But who knows? You know, as a Zerg player, you can really kind of just do whatever the hell you want, whenever you feel like it. And looks like he's going to throw down a Roach Ward. This is pretty early, so I feel like this is definitely going to be an aggressive move. Unless he's like preempting like the 4 gate with Zealots, I don't feel like this is something that people do. But as we can see on the other side of the map, that's not what Manny is doing. He's going for a 2 gate Adept Opener. I would say this is not a dated build, but it's just something we don't really see as much anymore. We often see that 1 gate expand a lot more commonly. Just get your expand up a bit quicker. But this one's a nice safe build. Let you get in a couple adepts. You can get some drone kills if you want. And you can get a lot of scouting done. And it looks like you will need to scout because we do have some roaches on the way. And no drones in sight. Not even going to saturate this natural. So it looks like this will be an early roach push. If Manny scouts this, I feel like he's in a great spot to deal with it. This is a good wall off, 2 pylons. So not going to be very easy to target that down. And he is getting sentries behind us. And Nexus is coming up. Wait, what the fuck? Okay. Can't quite say I've ever seen this specific build before. But I mean, hey. Power to the people. And yeah, Manny should have seen that roach there, and he should be saying, what the heck? And Frog should be saying this, seeing this expansion going, what the heck? And this is pretty unfortunate for Manny. That Nexus is like halfway done. I feel like if I were Frogs, I would just go kill the Nexus. Like, does he see that? Yeah, he sees that. Just go kill it. I guess maybe he just wants to poke at the front here. I guess that's a good way to bait out an overcharge, but he's losing a lot of units. The Nexus looks like it's going to finish, which is, I think, a mistake from Manny at the same time. Kill Frogs, kill him. Kill it! Like, he hasn't done any damage. He's building probes from it. This is, okay, I guess maybe he just wants to straight out kill. I guess I can see his reasoning. You know, he can't really afford to just target that Nexus. He has to come in here and just straight up kill if he feels like he wants to win. And that looks like it might just happen. These roaches are picking off a lot of these stalkers, and Zergling's doing pretty good versus them. Looks like these Ravagers are going to start heading into the main base. Though we do have a Void Ray out, and that should pretty much put an end to this. Yeah, and there goes all of Frog's roaches. And a couple Zerglings going to come in here and try to pick off some more units, but that Void Ray, that's just the end of times here for the Zerg player in this game, I feel. That Void Ray just completely negates this. Alright, so these Zerglings, sorry, are going to come in here to the natural, but Void Ray is pretty good against Zerglings too. Can't really kill them too fast, but they don't take any damage, which is good. And at this point in time, I really feel like Manny's probably feeling pretty confident. And Frog's down to 20 drones. He's not going to have a great time. As you can see, income's vastly favoring manipulation. And like, if we look at that, or look at this, like units lost, those 60 legs lost for not a whole lot. I feel like if I were Frogs, I would have just killed that Nexus, and then tried to pressure up the front, and then maybe backed off. I mean, like, yeah, I know you're still behind, but like the fact, like, if you kill that Nexus, Manny's not in as great a spot. He still has a probe lead, but you still have 2 bases over him, so of course, I wasn't in the pilot seat this game, and it's easy to backseat game when you're here casting. And you even have an Oracle coming out here. Looks like it got 6 kills that I missed. That's pretty bad for Frogs. He's on a very low drone count right now, only at 16 to Manny's 44. And I think, yeah, Frogs realizes that, and GG is called. Okay, awesome. So, Manny taking that series 2-0. Now we're going to be moving on to our next series, which is Purge versus Antares. Oops. Yeah, that was a Frogs game, all right. Okay, so now we're loading into game 1 of Purge versus Antares, otherwise known as Tech 4. Warning, high CPU usage. Okay. So, spotting down here, we have in the bottom right side of the map in the green, playing Terran, it is Purge. And in the top left, we have in the orange, with those spiky looking drones, playing Zerg, it is Antares. Now this will be a pretty interesting series to watch, hopefully. Purge in his last games versus Frogs. I'm not sure which ones were played first, if it was the Antares match or the Frogs match. But in this Frogs match, he looked like he had a pretty decent TVZ. Definitely looking forward to see if he can continue to perform. And looks like he's going for a good old barracks den gas. And then Terry's going for that good old hatch first. So nothing too crazy just yet. Now Tech 4 is a pretty unique player, and is in most of his matchups I feel is a very well-known Storm Host abuser. Not sure if we'll see that from him in this series, but he still has some solid macro and some good decision making. I mean, he is Masters 3, so this will be a bit of a hard gap for Purge, who is, I think, he's Diamond 3 or maybe Diamond 2. I'm not sure if he's promoted to Diamond 2 yet. But he's a fast improving player. But still, to play someone at Masters 3 while you're only in, you know, the kind of lower to mid area of Diamond, that's still a big jump. But we'll see if Purge can show us some good games here. And it looks like he's just going to be going for a Reaper Fast Expand. And it has a decent amount of gas behind us, so he can go for a quick reactor and maybe a quick factory as well. Okay, there's the factory. Will we see the reactor? There we go. That's a wall off, right? Yeah. Okay, so this Reaper's going to come in here and just try to see what's up. If I were him and I seen that Evo Chamber, I would definitely be prepared for some Baneling busts. Tech 4 had a very famous Baneling bust moment that got put in the Blizzard launcher. God, that was a long time ago that happened. And Tech 4 is making a couple more Zerglings than one might expect at this point in the game. It's going all the way up to 10, but of course he does have that Evo Chamber, so I think we're going to be seeing some Baneling, or not Baneling drops, Ling drops. And looks like our boy Purge here, he's going into some mech play. in that double factor. And these Hellions will be just in time to deal with these 6 lanes. So I'm not sure, because we don't have any... Okay, we do have some overloads here. Okay. So, yeah, this can be very annoying if Purge doesn't keep his Hellions back. Because normally the Terran, like, really relies on the fact that the Zerg has to stay behind their wall to survive in the early game. And, you know, when you do this, you just, you know, negate the entire effect of that wall. But we do have 3 Hellions here, so those should be able to clean up these lanes pretty efficiently. Though they did delay that armory for a couple seconds. Not the most impactful thing in the world, but still. It's just being annoying, which is always nice. And this actually, I'm not sure if this was intentional, but this kind of like screws a bit with the mech play this time. Because the Cyclones, while they can take out Overlords, they're not the best at it. And obviously the Hellions don't really have any anti-air, and he's not going to have any Hellions, sorry. Not Hellions, Vikings anytime soon, because he doesn't have a starport. And so while these units are across the map, where's that scan at? Okay, so he scans for a 3rd base. He doesn't see one. I feel like he should have stayed at home seeing that. Not exactly sure why he's going in. This is really weird from Tech 4. Like, he's getting a 3rd hatch, but it's here. This is like a Brood War build, where you get like your 3rd hatch in your base, going for free hatch meter or something. And this 3rd base will get denied, actually, or even straight up killed. Tech 4 wasn't paying attention, it looks like. We do have these lanes actually coming in here and intercepting these reinforcements, picking off a couple Cyclones. Looks like these Cyclones will get in the base, but these Zerglings will kill at least one. Cyclones still fight okay versus Zerglings. They're not the best at it, but hell, they can kill 9 Zerglings. Doesn't care. Meanwhile, Purge pushing it at the front. We do have 9 Roaches on the way very quickly, so he will pick off this Roach Swarm, but I really feel like he should have just gone straight for some drones. That's obviously the unit that is what you want to kill the most of, is drones. Looks like he's trying to get a good position here, but it's not going to be lanes attacking him. Really just needs, like, if those Hellions just went in that middle line, I'm actually pointing at my monitor, you guys can't see this. If those Hellbats went right into that middle line, they could have gotten, you know, 6, 7, maybe 8 kills. Now the rest of these Roaches popping up, they should be able to fight these Cyclones off. Cyclones do fare very well versus Roaches, but still, you know, trading these Cyclones is not what you want to do at this time. This mech build, you really want to keep these units alive as long as you can. Especially the Hellions. Like, the Hellions are very expendable, but they protect the Cyclones very well. And as you can see, lanes deal with Cyclones pretty well. And at the same time, we do have lanes up here in the mineral line, being super annoying for Tech 4. Purge all the way down to 7 workers. He's probably too busy microing over Tech 4's base to really notice that. And even then, at the same time, some more lanes going to run in here, picking off that Cyclone. No safe place for these workers to go. These Hellions, or Hellbats, should be able to finish off these lanes, but the damage has been done. And I think this is pretty much the end here for Purge. There's, you know, the worker differential is just a bit too much in my opinion. Unless he wants to turtle for 2 hours on Mass Ravens, I think it's going to be very tough to make the rest of this game work. But he's gonna do what he can. He's gonna send all of his units across the map, and he's gonna see, you know what, maybe Tech 4 overdrone. So, you know, there's plenty of games you can win because there's an overdrone or over tech. But Tech 4, I wouldn't say he's overdroned. He doesn't have a whole lot of units out now, but he did save his larva up, so he will have some more roaches on the way, and even some banelings. Banelings aren't the greatest versus Cyclones or Hellbats even, but like, they still do damage, obviously. And it looks like these units will get some decent trades if this was a more normal game, but these are pretty much the only units that Purge will be able to produce for the rest of this game. He's not remaking his workers. This is his last ditch effort. Purge gonna keep trying to push in here. I mean, Tech 4 isn't on a saturated third base even, so, you know, he has some hope. I'm not sure if he knows that even, but Tech 4 hasn't saturated that third base. Obviously knowing that he doesn't want to overextend himself. Now, I think at this point, just too many roaches, and roaches will finish off this mech push, and GG is called. Time to log back in. Alright, so we'll be getting into our second game here on Mech Depot. Blech. That happens to me a lot actually now, where I like just completely fumble my words. Alright. It also looks like streaming at a slightly higher bitrate, or resolution, sorry, is going pretty well. I haven't noticed any time where I've been below 60 FPS, so looks like it's going okay. Let me know in the chat, obviously, if things don't look as great as they should. But so, anyways, introduce our players here. We have up here in the top right, losing that last game, it is Purge. And down here we have in the bottom left, with the, I think that's their drone skin is really fucking ugly. But Tech 4 uses it, and I respect his choice. It is Tech 4, otherwise known as Interiors. And it looks like he's going for a cheese build this game. That pool did come down at 15, I watched that. But looks like Purge doing some cheesery of his own, some Tom cheesery. And it will be a 4 racks, maybe. Of course, Tech 4 is going to scout early on. I doubt he's scouting for cheeses. He's probably just seeing how defensive is my opponent playing. This could even be a proxy hatch for Tech 4, I don't know. But he is scouting nonetheless, so he should see, oh shit, there's no buildings over here. What the heck? But we do have 3 barracks here. Probably will see a 3rd one go down eventually. Slight mistake in Purge's build there, I think. You don't need that supply depot that early. You only need it on like 1920. So you could have built an extra barracks down here if you really wanted to. And it looks like Tech 4 is going for a proxy hatch, as I thought. And he will actually have no knowledge about what's going on. I'm not sure who comes out on top in this situation. Decent placement of bunkers. I like the one on the top of the ramp. I feel like this one here, God, I'm putting on my fucking screen again. This one here that my mouse is now hovering over, I think you could build it a bit closer, you know? Maybe place it like right there. Of course, that does carry the risk of Tech 4 seeing that, but still, pretty tough. And he should also be wondering to himself, like, why isn't there no natural? Why? How come I can just get all the way up here? A lot of bunkers though, and that's good. The more bunkers, the better. Alright, so he does have his Marines fighting that queen there. They do take it down a lot of its hit points. We have a lot of bunkers up. Though with the range of this creep, the bunkers won't be able to be in range of the spine crawlers. Really nice cancel there from Tech 4 actually. And Purge is doing a really good job targeting down the spine crawlers. As he knows, those are the high damage units here that you really need to pick off if you can. And even going for that spawning pool next is another great move, but I don't think he's seen the roach war. So killing the spawning pool will be great because that means no more lings, but the roaches are here and I think those are the big threat. Okay, and so it looks like he will start picking away some of these roaches. He's losing a couple marines, and he needs to pull these marines back, get them away from those broodlings. And there we go. Even building the supply depot over here, I love that. I mean, like, hey, if you're here, you know, Micro might as well just use it. Really nice cancel on the spine crawler there from Tech 4. And this is a tough one to call. Tech 4 has his proxy hatch, and the thing is, Purge is not walled off. So 2 lings over here, or a couple roaches, are going to be devastating. He doesn't really have a whole lot of SCVs here, so he's not going to get the greatest repairs on these bunkers. He does have a decent amount of marines, though. He's up to about 11. And he's going to lose the supply depot. Not bad news bears. Picking off that supply depot, or not supply depot, creep tumor. Well done. And this is looking okay for Purge. That's still a lot of roaches, though, and I really don't feel like he can take them on and head up, or straight up fight here. And he's been bleeding off marines for the majority of this. Tech 4 has actually just neglected to use this proxy hatch. I think he's just more worried about dealing with the threat at home. And now we got a bunch of Ravagers out, actually. And that's going to be really annoying as the Ravagers outrange the marines by a bit more than roaches, I think. And they'll be able to just pick away at these bunkers too, as you can see, just explosive battles. Kill not only the bunker, but a bunch of the marines inside. And I think Tech 4 has passed the threshold here for this rush to work. With all these Ravagers up, there's not a whole lot that Purge is going to be able to do. He's going to have to salvage this bunker. These bunkers are pretty much going to get picked off in a full volley. Yeah, sure, they will get a couple shots off, a couple volleys. Really nice evacuation there and a rally point to the other bunker. But he's going to lose all these marines. They're not going to trade the best. Yeah, they get a Ravager there. Yeah, they do some more damage to some roaches. But they're still going to die. And he's also going to lose his supply depot as well. And I don't think there's a whole lot he can do. And as we see here, Ling's up in the main, fighting up these workers. And these Lings will go down, but Purge is down to 10 workers. That's pretty crappy for him. And he's going to skip the proxy hatch by coincidence now. And it looks like he will be able to kill it, maybe. These roaches will probably get there in time, actually. And his 3 roaches are about to pop, so they'll actually be able to fight these marines straight up. And Purge is going to have a bit of difficulty here. He's lost a hell of a lot of his marines. He doesn't have much left. The survivors are running back into the main base now, or will be soon. And there's no bunker here. There's no production either. And we have a bunch of Ravagers going to rush up this ramp soon. And yeah, I think these Ravagers are really just going to punish this failed bunker rush. All the supply depots going down. Purge couldn't make anything if he had barracks landed or anything. So yeah, this is going to be Purge's last stand. SCV is being pulled. All the Marines now dead. And GG is called. And Terry's going to take that series 2-0. So not a surprising turn of events here. I think Tech 4 is definitely favored in that matchup. But yeah, Purge showing a good amount of builds and some good play. I'm excited to see him improve. I hope he continues to have the passion. So next up is going to be, okay, looks like Purge versus Manipulation was a walkover in Purge's favor. It's going to be Antares versus Manipulation. And these are on the current patch. God bless. Oh my god. Okay, we'll be getting in this series in just 1 sec. So we have, yeah, up here in the top left, we have our yellow Protoss player. It is Manipulation. And down in the bottom right, we have in the orange playing for CTL Pro. It is Tech 4. Oh my god, I am so glad Type 4 made a clan of this. And it looks like he will be going for cheese right off the bat. A good old 12 pool, or 13 pool, or I don't know how deserves, like, they say what the pool is, like when you have the drones to build it, or what the pool is after you've used the drone. So would it be a 12 or a 13? This is a cheese pool. That's what we'll call it. And yeah, it looks like manipulation also going to be going for a cheese, as we do have the first pylon being built outside the main base. Have a feeling this is going to be a 4-gate or a 3-gate. Will add on that 4th? We've seen yeah, this is gonna be 4-gate. I was gonna say, like, I seen Exile do that build versus Tech 4, the 3-gate, when they were playing yesterday, and I didn't think it was a great build. It won, but I didn't think it was a good build, I'll be honest. And Manny should be a bit frustrated here, having seen all those lanes running out. So I feel like this is not going to be a long game. All those lanes will get over to Manny's base before he even begins his first zealot. As this build is like the 4-gate is really a build that deals well with your opponent going for more macro-oriented styles. When your opponent plays defensive or aggressive, doesn't work very well, especially since you got 4 gates in the middle of the map. Luckily, he is walled in, but unfortunately, probes cannot repair pylons, and I don't think he has enough money to continue to build bigger pylon walls around these. So these lings will eventually get in. Of course, he does have to worry about these zealots coming out. And we do see the first zealot on the way here. We're really, like, I understand why he would want to start pushing in the zealots, because he needs to trade and try to draw the lanes back before he loses too many of his probes. But at the same time, you need the zealots to be in large groups before they can fight efficiently. And so these probes will fight okay versus these lings. But yeah, okay, it looks like Manny knows that was just a build order counter. It's just pretty much what it was. There wasn't a whole lot he could have done there, aside from not go for that build order. Alright, so we'll be getting into our second game. Okay, so we have here spun down in the bottom right side of the map. We have in yellow. It is manipulation. And up in the top left, we have in the orange playing for CTL Pro. It is Tech 4. That's a joke. CTL Pro doesn't exist. Alright. So it looks like we're going to have a bit more of a standard game here, as far as I can tell. You don't see anything in the middle of the map just yet. Of course, you can always, you can do whatever you want in a game of StarCraft. You could wait for 600 minerals and then go for the double proxy hatch. Like, I'm not gonna judge. And starting off with a spawning pool first, and then going into a hatchery. I think that was a direct response to seeing that pro. Guy's going fast. Alright, so yeah, we got a Forge and a Gateway coming up. Interesting build. I don't quite think I've seen this. Maybe this is really popular or something. Maybe this is the new Protoss build of the week. But I'm not in the know. And one photon cannon coming up at home. So this looks like a weird Forge fast expand, but he's getting a Gateway as well, obviously, because, like, you need the Cyber Core out too. Yeah, this is weird. As I said, I don't think I've seen this. So I really don't know what he's going to be going for with this. This will be nice against any early lanes. If Tech 4 were to go to the same build, do the same build again, I definitely think this would pretty much hard counter it. As you know, Zerglings don't deal great with photon cannons and zealots. But Tech 4 is smart enough, he's not going to go for the same build twice in a row. And now he will see the cannon up at the wall there. And he'll probably, you know, just be wondering like I am, like what the hell's going on. Again, unless this is like just really popular and I've never seen it. That is entirely possible, as I do not play PvZ, as I don't play Protoss or Zerg. I just talk about what I see in pro games or on people's streams. And it looks like Tech 4 is feeling pretty confident here, seeing that photon cannon, as he has decided to just pretty much straight up drone. Oftentimes you'll see Zerg players just get a couple lings out to try to deal with any early adepts or any early zealots even that might come out. You know, normally you'll see a couple adepts maybe heading across the map to scout. So Tech 4 is being safe though at the same time, getting some spore crawlers. Because of course, with that photon cannon, that's using a lot of minerals to ensure you're defensive. You know, that's 300 minerals he's put in there, I think. I think Forge is 150, right? But that's 100 or 300 minerals that he's put towards defending his base, and that he also hasn't put into building units. Really, like he has a stalker and a zealot. That's not a lot of gas. And so it looks like he probably will be going for a mass oracle play, as we do see 2 Stargates, unless this is some sort of weird build with Phoenix or some shit. I don't know. Probably going to be mass oracles though, saving up his gas so he can build as many of them as possible. That mothership core hovering there makes me sick. And not sure if Tech 4 knows it's coming, but I think maybe the photon cannon was a bit of a tell. Or just like the nature of it. You know, when you see your Protoss player turtling with on a couple bays with some photon cannons, you know, it's probably going to be some mass airplay. And it does look like he's going for Phoenix to start off. Maybe going into 2-base carrier? Is that the thing? These Phoenix can obviously, you know, be good and do damage. Of course, they'll clear up any overlords. You can fly a couple of them in, pick up some drones. They're not bad units. Like Phoenix are, I think, one of the most versatile Protoss units. Like they're just kind of, you know, a good safe unit. I wouldn't say they're like. I know some people were probably thinking like as soon as I said that, like, Siegfried, you fucking retarded. Like they have energy and they can't shoot the ground units all the time. They can only shoot some of them, and they can't even shoot all of them. Like they can't pick a Colossus up for fuck's sakes. Even though they could still shoot it, but like, you know, let's say for the sake of the argument that they couldn't shoot it. Well, still, like they do pretty good versus most things. And Tech 4 is really just piling on the upgrades here. Get some Hydralisks out, getting +1, getting all of these things, whatever those are. Those will probably be good. Oh, it's pretty neat though. They like turn red when they're picking shit up. They get angry. And Manny really is keeping these Phoenix right over top of the mineral lines here, and doesn't even really care about the spore crawlers. Took quite a lot of damage on a couple of them. And just going to continue to pick away at some drones here. Even really not feeling afraid of these Hydras, just going to pick those up as well. Don't want to make a Phoenix mad, dude. They turn bright red and they just start shooting stuff. I also gotta say, as a caster, I love units like Phoenix, like Reapers, where you can just control shift F on them, and I literally don't have to move the camera. I can just let the Phoenix go wherever the hell they want, And, you know, it still looks okay. And that's pretty much where all the action is. It's just a Phoenix. Like, there's nothing else I need to show you guys. I guess I could show you his fleet beacon. Like, that's kind of cool. He's getting another Stargate. That's neat. He's getting charged. Like, that's okay. There's a sentry there. Hiding. But yeah, for the most part, this is all we care about. He's Phoenix right here. And now there's a decent amount of Hydras out. Of course, these Phoenix can still lift them up. I feel like Manny's gotten some really good trades versus these Hydras. Like, Tech 4's not really gotten enough of them to deal with what Manny's done. He also hasn't expanded as much as he could have, I feel. He has about 1,000 minerals in the bank here. Looks like he is going for a Spire transition, which I'm not quite sure about either. See, the thing is, so Tech 4 should know that Manny's probably just going straight into mass air. So currently they're on even bases. I mean, if we look at the income here, Manny's even ahead of Tech 4 in the income because he has 70 probes, whereas Tech 4 is only about 60 workers. That's not a great amount of workers to be on for Zerg here, unless you're going for like a, you know, a 55 worker, like, you know, power push off of a couple bases with Hydras. So for the most part, Manny has been able to keep control of this game with these Phoenixes. They've killed a decent amount of drones. They've kept Tech 4 busy. Tech 4 really hasn't been able to do a whole lot off of his bases here. He hasn't felt comfortable enough to take a 4th base until just recently. And yeah, these Hydras, like, they do good for, like, versus air, but they're not great. They're not any air units. Like, these aren't Marines here. These aren't fucking, I don't know. These aren't stuff that kills air very good. And at the same time here, we have some carriers now popping in for Manny. And he's also spending all of his excess minerals here on some zealots that do have charge, and he's even getting upgrades for them too. So he's not just committing to fully mass air. He's keeping a solid ground force as well, building some photon cannons, just making sure to, you know, he's doing well. And this 4th base is going to die here. So yeah, like, you don't even need oracles to get the carriers. Like, you can just build Phoenix. Phoenix are good units. And I'm not quite sure about this Corruptors. Like, Corruptors are pretty good. They're not that great, honestly, especially versus Protoss Air. Like, I feel like every Protoss Air unit is, except for the Oracle, in air versus air is just better than them. Like, Corruptors don't really do that well versus Phoenix. Like, yeah, they're tanky, but they're not the greatest. If the Protoss player is microing their Phoenix right, especially if they have the range upgrade, Manny does not. But if he did, he could micro these Phoenix really well versus the Corruptors and do a hell of a lot of damage. Manny has thrown away a couple of his units here, losing some zealots for free there. We do have Tech 4 teching all the way up to Hive, but he's only on 3 bases, mind you. So I really feel like he needs at least a 4, maybe, you know, 5 or 6 base econ to really deal with this Protoss. Especially because Manny's on 4 base and he's saturated quite well. Again, we'll look at the numbers, the cold hard facts. The yellow side there, that's the bigger side. That means he's winning more. So yeah, Tech 4 is going to have some issues here. As a Zerg player, like, you can't trade that cost efficiently versus a Protoss, because, like, the Protoss units I feel like are just better than Zerg units on, you know, an even economy. But the thing is, a Zerg player can get a better economy easier, so they need to take advantage of that, and they just need to be able to trade better. You know, that's just the basic idea of Zerg that we've known for years, right? And Tech 4 stayed on a very low drone count, only around 50. He hasn't been replacing his workers as well as he can. Of course, he is pretty well saturated on all of his current bases. He just needs, you know, a 4th base, which he's only now taking. This is going to be a tough one for Tech 4. Both players haven't really been doing a whole lot of fighting. We've seen... Oh shit, that's a lot of Phoenix that just got killed. But look, we got the mothership core, okay? Now, yeah, sure, Tech 4's killing a bunch of these interceptors and stuff. But who gives a shit? Like, they're interceptors. Tech 4 will just continue... Sorry, Manipulation will just continue to make more and more of them. This game is not really going in Tech 4's favor, I feel. He killed a lot of interceptors, so I'll give him that. And those things aren't... How cheap are they now? I can't remember. They're like 10, right? But they got nerfed to like 15? Or maybe they're 25. I don't know. Let's just say they're a number between 5 and 25. So, you know, they're decently expensive. That's like a bunch of flying Zerglings. And Tech 4 just killed a bunch of them. But, of course, Manny just needs... Like, Manny has plenty of gas, actually. Like, normally the Protoss is starving for gas. But Manny, he just has a huge surplus of it. And Tech 4 did a good job denying this 5th base. But, of course, Tech 4 still does not have a 4th. He really needs to continue to keep this army alive for pretty much as long as he can. And just tech into better and better units, but of course that's very hard. I feel like Protoss endgame tech is just a bit stronger than Zerg endgame tech. Just, you know, just how the races were made. And all these Hydras are just going to get shredded by all of these interceptors. Not enough anti-air here to deal with these. Too many carriers. Finally, the Mothership Core does go down, but all the Hydras are dead, and Tech 4 just doesn't have the economy to back this up. Like, there's just nothing behind the... There's no Zerg engine to power their army. And I can unzoom. And, yeah. Manipulation is being pretty consistent with these Zealot Road buys, just making sure that they're happening. And now the Golden Armada is coming in here. They are yellow. I don't know why I zoomed in that much. But they are yellow, so this is the Golden Armada. As everyone will say every time any Protoss player goes there. But this time it's correct. And GG is called. Manny gonna take game number 2. Okay, now we're going to be going into game 3 here, very shortly. Okay. And score is 1-1. So we have up here spawning in the top left corner of the map, in the yellow playing Protoss, it is Manipulation. Oops. And in the bottom right, we have in the orange playing Zerg for Steel Pro. It is Tech 4. And Manipulation, like, Manipulation's the cold hard killer. He doesn't play StarCraft to have fun. This dude plays it to win. That's a joke because Manipulation, he's a pretty cool guy. Ugh, my hurt for Tech. Yeah, this is gonna be I think this is gonna be a tough one for Tech 4 actually. Like I of course I have my bias against Protoss, so I'll state that right now. I do feel like Protoss is a bit favored in the matchup, and I know people will probably crucify me for saying that. But I feel like Protoss is a bit better in PvZ right now. And this map especially, I like it for Protoss a lot. You know, it has some good choke points. You know, you got that. We got that. We got, you know, that's still pretty good. So, you know, some older styles of Protoss can work pretty well on this map. Where, you know, you just get those sentries out. You force field off the areas, you cut off the armies, you use your AoE units, your Colossus, your Disruptors, if those units are still in the game, use the High Templars, whatever, your Archons, and you just kill, like, you know, kill shit, break it off into smaller bits and pieces. So I feel like those styles can work very well on this map, and I feel like Zerg has some options. I'll give him that. You know, you can, when the Protoss takes their third base, assuming they take it here, there's a lot of ways you can go in. You can go up from the top, you can go in from the middle, you can go in from the bottom. There's a lot of ways you can, you know, you can flood some lings in while they're not looking. There's some decent airspace here, you know, you can get some dropper lords. You know, some decent airspace over here. You can send some Baneling drops over here, blow up some probes. They have some options to do some harass. Some swarm hosts would probably be pretty good on this map too, right? Because like there's a lot of different paths you can go, different angles you can fly in. Like, you know, you put the swarm hosts over here and you send them over to the natural. Oh, I just got some money. Oh, thanks for the cheer. Shazam poof. The owner and, well, I guess he's not technically the owner, but he's the organizer for the Allinvitational. No one is the owner. The team owns this tournament. The community owns this tournament. Also, that didn't make the noise that I thought it would. On Streamlabs, I set it so that it was going to be the chatterbait, like token sound whenever people donated bits. But I guess that's not working. And it looks like Tech4 is taking some of my advice, and he will be getting some Banelings here, and probably a drop, right? Does he have a... No, he doesn't have an Evo Chamber, so he's not going to drop. That Overlord's just there to, you know, check things out. But it will be a Baneling bust. Now, oh, this is actually really bad for Manny. Using that Photon Overcharge right before the Baneling bust to kill an Overlord. Like, ugh. He's gonna be kicking himself in the ass for that later. And now these units are out of position. These Banelings are gonna rush right in on the map. I'm not sure if Manny even knows they're there. They're gonna unpower all of these units. That Warp Prism won't even get out. I mean, like, even if it did, who gives a shit? It's just a Warp Prism. Like, it's not gonna stop all these lings. All these units getting surrounded. Nothing here for Manny. No units at all, and doesn't look like there will be. I mean, these lings can just like kill all of these. Nice Photon Overcharge there on the gateway in the far back, or the pylon, sorry, in the far back. I'm not sure what the build was going to be this time. Looks like it was going to be a charge zealot drop again. I can't remember if did he do it in this series or was that versus. No, that was versus Frogs who did this. But regardless, I think this is a bit just too little, too late. Tech 4, with a combination of luck and skill, has taken out manipulation. More lings just continuing to flood in. This Mothership Core is probably going to get a lot of kills, but at the end of the day, it won't matter if there's no probes around to recognize it. Okay, so Manny has walled in now, so he should technically be safe, but he's only at 5 probes. He has 2 bases, sure, but so does Tech 4, and Tech 4 is at 23 probes. So, you know, if we look at the Who's Winning tab, we can see that Tech 4 is winning, so place your bets now. Another Photon Overcharge going down, that's how it is there as well. But unfortunately, these lings are just going to slip by, and manipulation actually taken out, knocked out of the Allinvitational in the qualifiers by Tech 4. This is a pretty big upset, as I will say. I did not expect Tech 4 to take out manipulation. I know he's taken out good Protoss players before. Like I think he took out Exiled and Allinvitational before. He might have even taken out manipulation before in the Allinvitational. But this is definitely a surprise. And with that will conclude Group B, so we will be moving on to Group C. So the players to make it out of Group A, or Group B, sorry, was Antares with 2-1 in matches and 5-3 in map score. With following in at second seed, we have Frogs coming in 2-1 and then 4-3. So he will be taking that second seed. And yesterday we also seen Chobo and Asmodian coming out of Group A. So now we'll be going on to Group C. This is one of our unique 3-player groups. And in this group we got Boo, Lumia, and Rockist. So we'll see who can get out of this one. Group C. Okay, so we're going to be going, our first game is going to be Lumia versus Rockist. Now this is going to be an interesting matchup. Lumia is one of the longest standing players we have in All-In. He's one of the faces I pretty much remember for as long as I've been here. He's probably been here before I even got here. One sec, let me just switch over here. Versus Rockist, who's one of our newer players. And I guess I'll talk about them later after I introduce them. So spawning up here in the top left, we have playing in the teal. It is Rockist. And down in the bottom right, playing in the purple, we have Lumia. And that SV is following that. That one is not mining. But I guess anyways, talk a bit more about the players. So we have Rockist. Oh my god, he's doing this again. This is something that I've only ever seen Rockist do, and it is so cute, and I love it. I'm not sure how good it is, but it is really interesting. He sends these over to harass, because like you need to pull SCVs to deal with this. And sometimes it just like, you know, freaks the other person out because they think they're getting cannon rushed. But I think this is pretty cool. So look, yeah, he has to pull 3 probes for a while, but Lumia had to pull 4. And sometimes you can even get a SCV kill. Probes are a bit better to micro than SCVs, I feel. Plus their shields regen, of course. But anyways, yeah, I keep wanting to talk about these players, but then they keep doing things so that I can't talk about them. Fortunately, Rockist did lose one of his workers there. Another one almost went down, and that barracks did get finished. So yeah, it looks like Rockist's worker harass not going to be so successful. Yeah, and Rockist going to follow this up here. I'm not sure how well he was macroing back at home while he was doing this. This is something I personally would never do, sending these workers out to harass like this. I would just completely fuck up my build order and never be able to get back in the zone. But still, I really like it. That's really cool. Rockist, of course, the newer player in the team. Guy is an absolute monster. He plays an insane amount of ladder games. Recently promoted to Diamond. And he's been playing the CTL for us all this season. He's been doing a great job. And he's just a pretty cheerful guy all around. I like watching his stream. He was streaming the USL earlier if you didn't catch that. So yeah, make sure to check him out when he streams. And on the other hand, we have Lumia. He's the second best Australian Terran on the team. Sorry, Lumia, but I do think Mr. Orlando's just a bit better than you. He's also a very cheerful guy. He doesn't stream as much anymore, but when he does, he'll usually be listening to the Hobbit soundtrack. Or I guess soundtrack doesn't sound right. We'll say like the Hobbit orchestra or something. I don't know, but he listened to some pretty good music. Even though the Hobbit was, in my opinion, a pretty shitty movie, the soundtrack for it was pretty good. Now we have here. So, as you can see, Lumia is a bit weirded out from what happened earlier in the game. He's building the bunker pretty quickly, getting the Cyclone and a couple Marines out. Like, if I had someone send 3 workers at the start of the game to me, especially since I think Lumia knows that he doesn't have a natural base, yeah. So you should be worried. You should be thinking, okay, what the hell's going on? And it looks like this will be a bit of a pressure build here, as we see a couple of Stalkers heading across the map, and following us up, we have a Stargate. Okay, so we have some Stalkers at home here still. Wasn't sure if this was like a 3-gate Stargate all in. I'm not quite sure if he has the money for it. Is he getting a robo facility too? Interesting. Okay. So Lumia's kind of stuck here on one base. He does have a Cyclone though. Wouldn't mind a bit to pop out. And he has a bunker at the top of the ramp. So he should be feeling pretty confident. Oh. I was wondering why it sounded so quiet. I hated the settings. The settings for offline and online are different. So like when I had to watch the previous games that forced me to go offline to watch, and I changed my settings, it doesn't save. And Lumia's scared enough that he's keeping 4 SCVs on standby to repair this bunker. Of course, it's because he doesn't see a natural. I don't think he really has to worry the most. Okay, so yeah, it's hard to understand what build order Lumia was going for at the start of this game when something like some worker harass happens at the start of the game like that. That would definitely throw me off and force me to play very, very defensive because I wouldn't know what the hell's going on, especially when you don't see a natural for as long as he did. So finally we do have the natural for Rockets coming up here. And we do have an Oracle here, and it looks like he's just going to be defensive with this Oracle. He's building a couple of them. Maybe going to send them in at a later date. Of course, Oracles are great units defensively as well. The Stasis Ward is a great spell to use. And it looks like Lumia is itching for a tank push here. He's getting some Liberators, getting some Siege Tanks out, and has a lot of Marines. So this could work very well versus a Stargate opening. These tank pushes, I think, normally work really good unless you have a couple Phoenixes with it. Of course, then you can lift up the tanks and attack the Phoenix. It also might just be for defense. Lumia might not have any intentions of going for a push. And if he does, I think he's going to time it out when his stim kicks in. So for now, it looks like he's going to send one of these Liberators over to harass. The other one's on his way over. Just going to send these over and harass some mineral lines. And in response to that, it looks like Rockets is getting a Phoenix. Good call, of course. You know, Phoenix kill air units. And I don't quite know where... Okay, there it is. That one Oracle's planting some Stasis Wards. That spell is just a really good spell to use. Okay, so it looks like one Liberator will get sieged up here. I think this... Okay, that one Liberator at the natural did die. We do have a Stalker and a Phoenix here, luckily. And I like that, his choice, almost. I'm not sure if that was worth it to sacrifice the Stalker to save a couple probes. But, you know, it shows he has his heart in the right place. You gotta protect the civilians at all costs. But now, here we have a pretty scary push from Lumia heading out. 2 siege tanks, stim about finished, +1 on the way, and 2 medevacs, and a Cyclone. I think there's 2 medevacs here. Oh, just 1 for now. And that Cyclone did trigger one of those Stasis Wards. So Lumia might be a bit more cautious after tripping one of those. And now these 2 Oracles are going to head right into the middle line here. There is a missile turret, so unless Rockist wants to micro that very carefully, he's not going to be able to take that out. Smartly done by Lumia. I guess he's going to send 1 Marine in there to trigger that. And that's a lot of Marines. And he does the Siege Tank sieging up in some pretty prime positions here. And Rockist, at the moment, he's been teching out pretty heavily. He doesn't really have a huge army here to deal with this. Photon Overcharge is going to push these Marines back for now, but we do have 2 Siege Tanks that will continue to push forward here and just frog their way up. Okay, so it looks like they will start to pick away at that pylon. A couple Zealots here getting caught out. And Lumia did see that Stasis Ward, so he will take that out. All the Oracles being recalled. They have to defend the base. But this is a great position from Lumia, and since Rockist was so busy on teching forward, he didn't get a huge amount of units out. So he doesn't really have what he needs to deal with this. I think in a, I guess, more normal game, you would have a lot more units out to deal with this. You'd have more adepts in particular. But just the way the game went, Lumia has a larger amount of higher tech units than Raucous has at his disposal. As Raucous is trying to leap forward through a couple epoches. And these Marines are just going to run into the main base, and I think this should be the end of the game here pretty soon. We get Storming away, but I don't think that's going to finish in time. And GG is called. Lumia taking game number 1. Okay, so now we're going to be loading into game 2 here. On Ascension to Ire. Okay, so we have here up in the purple, spawning in the top left corner as Terran, it is Lumia. And in the bottom right, we have in the teal, playing Protoss, it is Raucous. And it doesn't look like Raucous is going for a worker harass again this game, just sending one probe out to scout. As much as I like the free worker harass, not quite sure it'll work every single game. Okay, so Raucous is still going to be annoying if this one probe is going to start picking away at that SCB, and it will force a couple more SCBs to get pulled off the line here to ensure that this barracks gets built. Okay, so nothing too crazy happened from either of these players just yet. Looks like Raucous Natural will be coming up in this one right now. And a Reaper on the way for Lumia. Now Lumia only went for... he did go for a gas after the barracks. So this is probably just going to be a Reaper fast expand, and then into a later barracks. Or later factory, my bad. And Raucous just going to continue to be annoying with this probe. Fortunately, this Reaper will put a stop to that. No more probe micro of you. Alright, so back at Raucous Base, we do have an ad coming out and Warp Gate on its way. Not a lot of gas in the bank though, so we're not going to see a tech choice just yet. My bad. Just going to have to wait a bit. And this Reaper will get into the main base. And Adam's coming out shortly, but this Reaper coming out now, but this Reaper can get a couple kills. I mean, you know, Adams do a lot of damage to Reapers, but I think Reapers are pretty easy to micro away from them. You can pretty much see what you need to see. Yeah. And he sees that Raucous hasn't gone for a really early tech choice here. So, okay, looks like we do have a Twilight and a Robo facility on the way here. I'm not quite sure what this is going to be. Normally the only builds I really see in TVP are like ones that open with either a quick robo facility with some Memorials, or people go for some Stargate play. Stargate play is super popular on the ladder, so that's pretty much all I see. So I actually have pretty much no clue about this PvT build, and it looks like he's getting charged really early. He's also getting a Forge as well. So this is pretty interesting. I guess we'll see where he decides to go after this. And Lumia should see the scout of all these gateways here and that forge. So, I mean, you shouldn't be too alarmed. I would be alarmed by that, the worker pull. but he's going to get a full skate of the base. Okay, so we do have a Warp Prism on the way, so it looks like it's just going to be some pretty standard harass with a Warp Prism. He's getting armor and charge. So it looks like he's going to be going into a charge lot centered style. I know charge lots are really good right now. Like, a lot of people like using them, and I do think they're really good in that like mid and late stages of the game. But early game, except versus Zerg, not really digging them. Especially versus Terran, I feel like unless the Terran's been skimping and they haven't been building enough units, like say they've been building siege tanks and barely any Marines, they're gonna have enough to deal with it. Yeah, I feel like that's where everyone gets supply blocked this Terran, is at that 46 mark. Just gotta remember to, as soon as you finish building that orbital command, just gotta keep building the supply depots. Siegfried's tip of the week. Alright, so we will have this Warp Prism coming in here, but it will take a direct hit from that Widow Mine, and that turret will finish up literally just in time. That is one of the most unlucky Warp Prisms I have ever seen. Okay, so it looks like Rockist gonna fall back here and get a third base up. Lumia has yet to start a third CC, instead opting for 2 more racks, which is pretty common if you want to put on any pressure. So what we'll probably see with Lumia here is a couple medevacs. He'll push it with stam combat shields +1 and just try to get some damage done. Try to force the Protoss player off of that third base. But it looks like at the same time, Rockist is going to tank ahead quite quickly here. And he's going to get a Twilight Archives, or Templar Archives, not Twilight Archives. But that would be pretty good if you can get Storm out. If you can surprise the Terran with some Storms earlier on in the game than he expects, then, you know, you can do pretty well. But the thing is, Rockist doesn't really have a beefy army right now. He has about 9 Zealots and some Sentries. And yeah, those are good. The Zealots have charged. They got +1 armor. But a good Bioforce, especially this one that has +1 and stam and combat shields, they're going to do very well versus Zealots. Especially at this stage in the game. Alright, so we do have this third base up and running now. Doesn't look like we have any probes on it or at it yet. These 2 medevacs head across the map now. Unfortunately, Lumia actually going to engage a bit before these medevacs get here, so this engage is not going to be as great as he could have hoped for. 2 Widow Mines getting killed pretty much immediately, and I think this was kind of a bit of a botched engage. And as much as I was shit-talking Rockist Zealot Army, like, it just cleaned up all those Marines so quickly. Looks like Lumia is going to have to defend a bit more. He has a couple Widow Mines here, so it's going to be great. And without doesn't look like there is an Overseer directly with the army, so these are going to take some really big hits. Huge hits from those Widow Mines, and all these Marines are going to just be able to kite back. And Lumia picks up all the rest of those Marines just in time. Okay, so that was a very inefficient trade of Zealots. That could have been a lot scarier if none of those Widow Mines were here. Those Widow Mines do so much shield damage, and there's a reason that people build them. Like, the main reason that I don't think a lot of people realize this, but the main reason that Widow Mines had that shield damage was because Charge Lot Archon was like so strong in TVP for a while in HOTS that they're like Terran could do nothing. Like, Terrans were building Hellbats versus fucking Zealots, and that sucked dick. So, like, you know, that's why you don't see that ever, because it sucks. That's one of the main reasons why Widow Mines have that shield damage. Of course, you can still do Zealot Archon and whatever you want to call it, Charge Lot Archon, sorry, in TVP, but it's not as effective, of course, due to Widow Mines. But Lumia getting a great position, his drop heading into the main, and Widow Mines are in a pretty good spot. Anything that runs up that ramp is going to take a huge amount of damage from these Widow Mines, and Lumia can feel free to start picking away at that tech. These weren't the greatest Widow Mine shots. That one's pretty good. But we do have storms going down on the army and some feedbacks, but we don't have anything to follow this up. Those are great storms, but there's not too many units here to deal with these. And, okay, so some Zealots come from behind there and do finish this off. A couple Archons morphing here, but there's still 6 Widow Mines in the main. And Rockets has quite a bank. And these Widow Mines are just going to continue to find some value. And Lumia is on a 3rd base. This drop is going to head in 3rd, picking off a couple probes. And this is one of the main disadvantages of this like mass charge log composition, is you can't really deal with these drops very well until you have Templars in position. Funny fact, these charge lots are stuck back here pretty much. They can't leave. And also the Twilight Council is unpowered, so he's not going to have glaives anytime soon. Maybe getting a 4th base up as well. Yeah, every time a probe gets built from this, it just dies to one of these 6 Widow Mines. God. Goodbye, Wilson. Oh my god. I hope Lumia just like keeps an eye on those and keeps scanning whenever an observer gets built. That'd be so annoying. Meanwhile, another big drop on its way here. And this is going to just drop right on top of where these Widow Mines are. I mean, he knows it's safe. These Widow Mines haven't been cleaned up. Some charge Zealots here in the mineral line still. That one observer going to get killed. All those High Templar back there, no support. Those are so fragile. These Widow Mines are going to do great versus them. You don't often see High Templars getting killed by Widow Mines. Oh god. I think that's one of the first times I've ever seen that interaction. But GG is called. Raucous taking that 2-0 loss. A well thought out game. Some decent builds there from him. That Pro Push is pretty interesting. I seen him do it in CTL. But yeah. Okay, I guess I should swap whatever's. Okay, so next off we're gonna go into Boo versus Lumia, and unfortunately this is on an old replay set. Ugh. Gross. Okay, so starting off here, we have our purple Terran player of Rhapsody, otherwise known as Lumia, spawning up here in the top left. And down in the bottom right, we have in the blue, playing Zerg. It is Boo. So this should be a pretty interesting match. I think this will be a bit more evenly matched. I think Lumia's closer to Boo's level than Raucous was to Lumia's level. If I had to put a power rank for this group, I would definitely put it Boo, Lumia, Raucous. No offense to any of the players, but it's my honest opinion. Keeping it real here. And yeah, I'm interested to see how well Lumia can fare versus Boo. Lumia normally has some pretty solid TVT. I'm interested to see what builds he busts out here. I know he likes Banshees and TVT, so now that Banshees are a bit more common in TVZ, interested to see if he goes for any of those Hellion Banshee plays. and it's a bit too early to really tell what's going on. You know, people are building their buildings. These overlords are lording over, doing what they do. And this is pretty interesting, actually. Looks like Lumia will be going for a 2-on-1. I think, yeah. So this is a build as old as time itself, and by that I mean as old as Legacy of the Void. I'm not really seeing much anymore. I feel like 2-on-1 has surpassed its usefulness. Unless you're just like mechanically better than the other player, I really don't feel like the 2-on-1 is that great of a build anymore. We've seen it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and I think finally we're at a point in the meta, a point in the game, reserve players know how to deal with it for the most part. We don't really see it much anymore. I can't remember the last time I've seen it used in a professional game. Players are more often opting for, you know, their 2 racks, their Hellion Banshee, you know, stuff like that. Their mech builds. We don't really see much of the 2-on-1 anymore. This is an older build, and I would even go as far as to say I think the 2-on-1 is obsolete. But now is the time for Lumia to prove me wrong. Can we see him bust out this 2-on-1 and just utterly destroy Boo? If he does, I'll take back everything I said. And unfortunately for Lumia, he did lose that Reaper right off the bat. So I think that's the worst time to lose the Reaper, is right then, when those 4 Zerglings pop out. Main reason, you can't see if you're getting Balin busted, because that is normally the time when you would see a swell of Zerglings running across the map to your base. Luckily we know that those are the only Zerglings that are on the map currently. It was just those 4. There's no Balin bust happening, but the thing is Lumia doesn't know that. And also, the Reaper is so key for denying the 3rd base from going down, and also for making sure that it did go down. Of course, it's always hard to keep it alive once those speedlings are out. Okay, and Boo's teching up to a quick layer here. He has a Bailey Nest. Getting the 3rd base. Not quite sure what he's going for. Probably just standard game, building some stuff. I keep making like hand gestures and movements, but like I mean, like, I'm sure it happens, and like the 2-on-1 still happens in programs sometimes, but like I haven't seen it. I haven't been watching as many games recently. Like I haven't even watched all of the Super Tournament VODs yet. But I haven't seen it make it, or people using it very far into any games. Like obviously, I went to DreamHack Montreal. In case you didn't know, I was there. Yeah, I'm in on the ground floor in the industry, is what we call it. But yeah, I was there, and I don't think I seen the 2-on-1 once in that tournament. And I watched pretty much all the games. I can't remember anyone using it in Super Tournament. Don't remember it in GSL. And Lumia there, double stimming for good luck. And nice target fire there on those Bannons, actually. But Boo has a lot of units out here, and Lumia unfortunately is losing a lot of these Marines. See, the thing about this drop, you need to keep the units alive as long as you can. The constant pressure, the constant damage to units while losing very little units of your own is why it's so strong. The 2-on-1, you can't trade. If you trade, you lose. That's just how it is. You can't trade versus people when you're doing the 2-on-1. Because you put your economy at a lower state of the game when you go for this. And Lumia actually delaying his economy even more, going for 3 racks as an immediate follow-up. Normally you see a 3rd CC behind this. He does have these double E-bays. But So yeah, he really needs to get damage done now. He really needs to just keep spending his money, get his upgrades going, and hope that he can just overpower his opponent. Like, when people go for these 5 racks, they're going for a power play. Like, if we can call it that. I don't even know what power play means, I'm just saying that. I'm sure there's someone here that watches football that will probably know what that means. And say, like, Siegfried, you're fucking stupid. Power plays when someone gets sent to the penalty box because they kicked the puck wrong or some shit. But I don't know what it means, I'm just gonna call it that. So, like, you know, you power up on 2 bases, you get a really good army, you get really good upgrades, and you halt production of workers for the most part until you're only like saturated well. You don't want to oversaturate, and pretty much you just keep building units. And as we see, Lumia is slowly expanding, but he has opted to get more units out earlier so he can do more damage. And I think this is a very stylistic choice because Lumia prefers to be the aggressor. He prefers to have a lot of units because it's often safer. In 2020 cricket, a power play for the battling team is when the fielders are allowed to have so many people in certain religions of the field. I don't know what that means. Okay, so we have these Marines now pushing up. But still, that's a lot of units from Boo here. We have a couple Wood Mines on the field here, so if he gets some really nice shots off, sure, he's going to be good. But all these Hydras are going to put an end to this, I feel. And luckily his Marines killed those Zerglings before those Wood Mines could go off. We still have 2 more active here. He really needs to pick up the SAT and get the hell out of there. One medevac going down, other Wood Mine going to go off. It only exploded on those Hydras. And I know the Hydras are more expensive units, but the Wood Mines don't get as great a value versus them. Because the Hydras don't die from it. Yeah, they take damage, but they don't stack as well. Like, the reason Wood Mines are so good versus Zerglings, obviously, is because the Zerglings stack so well on top of each other that the Wood Mine damage gets spread out so evenly. And so much, right? And Boo is going for this Hydroling Bane style. That's very trendy right now. And he has some really good upgrades too. He's going on 2-2, and I think Lumia only has... we'll click on the Marine or somewhere. Yeah, he only has 1-1. So when the Zerg has better upgrades than you, you really can't do a whole lot. Like, your options of what you can do in the game are so decreased. And all these medevacs gonna get picked off by these Hydras. 2 full medevacs dead. Lumia's very far behind. Not only in workers, as we can see, 50 to 70. I mean, as a Terran in this matchup, if you're not doing damage, you need to have a good econ behind you. Like a Terran on even economy with a Zerg, they can still do okay. Yeah, the Zerg is, I think, a bit better in like you know, a no rush 20 game, but the Terran can still do okay as long as they're, you know, able to just constantly macro, right? But when the Zerg player gets ahead of you, especially when your 2-on-1 didn't do enough damage, it puts you in a really precarious spot. So the thing is, at this point in time, Lumia needs to get damage done. But if he fights, he's not going to get value, because his units are just worse than Boo's, or not currently, but will be worse than Boo's for quite a while, as Lumia's 2-2 is quite delayed. And when the Zerglings are trading well versus the Marines, things aren't going well. And Boo's already up to Hive. It's only about 11 minutes in. It's a pretty quick Hive. As I think Boo felt very confident. He did not have to spend lots of money on Banelings, on Hydras. He really just needed to build Lings and Queens, and he did fine. Yeah, all these Lings not really getting a whole lot of value done. They did delay that CC, which is kind of annoying. But I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world here. Okay, so Lumia is sieging up here. He's going to try to take this high ground position. This little rhombus, or whatever the hell we want to call this here. I just like that word. I don't know what a rhombus actually looks like. But taking this area is really good, especially for siege tank pushes, because it allows you to have a high ground that you can push down into. And the ramps are big enough that you can feel comfortable pushing downwards, while at the same time feeling confident at the top, because the arc that you get at the top of the ramp is a lot better than the arc that your opponent can get at the bottom, as you can see. Like, yeah, you still get a good arc at the bottom, right? You can set up really well, but it's not the worst. Like, if we compare it to these ramps over here, like the arc at the top, still good, makes for a good defensive position, but the arc on the bottom is about equivalent. Plus you get control out of all these little nooks and crannies. You know, if you had a couple siege tanks there, that could have been a different fight. And Boo's economy is just exploding here. He has plenty of upgrades on the way. He has an Ultralis Cavern on the field, and he has plenty of Lings and Banes. I think he has enough Ling Bane to pretty much fight head-on with Lumia. And he's even getting 3-3. Lumia's 3-3 is not on the way yet. Lumia's on 2-2. Does anyone remember when people used to say not to bother getting 3-3 in TVZ because it wasn't efficient or something? What an idiot. Alright, so Lumia has a decent amount of command centers. He can expand. Of course, Terran in the late game has a bit of trouble expanding. They really can't afford to be splitting up their units defensively. It's a lot easier for them to do it offensively. And these servers are going to try to run by here. Pretty much all of them die just to make it in. And that's still very annoying. These Zerglings have Adrenal. They have 2-2, soon to be 3-3. But yeah, they didn't really get a whole lot done. This fourth base will be going down soon. And yeah, even though Lumia's in a worse spot income-wise, like, you know, if we look at the winning tab, Lumia's currently not winning. Yeah, I remember that. That was... I always remember reading that, thinking, like, are you stupid or something? Alright, so we have a big push in here. Really good Arc of Marines here, but no Ultralis to support this. And no pre-splits here, so that means all these Marines are going to have to split backwards. It's going to take a lot of APM here for Lumia to split all these back, and all these Ultralis and Banes and Hydras are just going to rush in here and pretty much clean everything up. Marines are unloaded here trying to fight versus these Ultras, but of course, Marines versus Ultras, never a good fight. And Lumia's entire army has been routed. Fourth base is dead. Ultralis and Banelings heading down to this third base location. A couple siege tanks set up here, but they will not live very long. And that is GG. Lumia losing game number 1 there. But still, that was a pretty long series that lasted for about 14.5 minutes. You know, both players got pretty far in the tech trees. That wasn't a stomp. Lumia might have lost, but he had a good showing. I think I'm going to finish at least Group C, and I think I'll see how many games that happened in Group D, and then we'll go from there. But I'm going to at least finish Group C today. And then I can't guarantee any more casting. I do have to work for the rest of the week. This was my last day off this week. But ideally, I would like to cast all of these games because, you know, it's like our history. This is the history of our team. And someone needs to write it down with their voice on a computer screen. Okay. So, starting off our next match, or next game here of this best of 3. We have spawned down here in the bottom-ish corner of the map, or circle area of the map. We have Lumia. And up here on the leftist side of the map, leftish, sorry, we have our blue Zerg. It is Boo. Okay. So now that we've moved past my pronunciation of the word leftish, we will keep going on in this game. Alright, so it looks like Boo will be going for a hatch first. And Lumia going for that. Probably Reaper Fast Expand again. Lumia's not the type of person, just use clock position. I don't even know what time that would be. Like what, that'd be like 6 o'clock for Lumia? And then that's what, like 9 p.m.? It's like, I don't know. Yeah, Lumia's a pretty standard guy. He's not really the type of person to... Yeah, that's what I'm thinking here. Like, how do I know what type of clock they're using here? Is it a 24-hour clock? Is it digital? Is it analog? If that's the type of clock? Lumia being pretty ballsy here with this Reaper. Picking off one Zerglin. I feel like using military clock times, or military time, whatever you want to call it, wouldn't be inconvenient whatsoever. I'm sure everyone would understand. It was the innovation thing. Oh, you got a Marine before the Reaper? I didn't even pick that up. Okay, so it looks like this game Lumia will be going for some Hellions, and he's going into 2-port. This will probably be 2-port Banshee, as Lumia is a big innovation fanboy. I bet Lumia calls him bogus. Okay, but it looks like Lumia will not have the time to get out any Banshees in this game because we do have a shit ton of Banshees and Zerlings right up this ramp. There's 2 Hellions out here, but they are in the base, or the Zerlings are in the base now. So, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And a Viking is coming into this starport, and, you know, a landed Viking, not the best. For dealing with fast Zerglings. And Boo, we're going to take that 2-0 in this series. Yeah, I have yet to use the 2-port Banshee build. I always want to call it 2-port Wraith because like that's what I hear all the freaking time. personally not really a big fan of 2-port Banshee, actually. Like, yeah, I know Innovation used it, he won a couple games with it, but like, I don't think it's a solid build. Like, it's a build, but it's not like a good one. Okay. So going into our next series, it's going to be Boo versus Raucous. And up here in the top right side of the map, at the 0-100 hours position, we have Raucous in the teal. And at the 1700 hour position, we have in the red camouflage, it is our Zerg player Boo. Okay, it looks like we're going to have some worker harass in this game as well. This is the Raucous signature on these games. Okay, so I'm not as sure what he... No, he just doesn't have the 3 workers, he's only the 2. I'm not sure what exactly his plan is, though. So he has a nice pylon block here, denying the speed base from going down. And he has a worker over here as well to make sure that Boo can't get a base over here. So maybe he's just trying to be as annoying as he can. Unfortunately, that probe moved just hit position, and that hatchery did get down. And it looks like Raucous will be going for a forge now. Interesting. I don't think he's going to use that offensively. Doesn't seem likely. Probably just going to build a wall here with a cannon and just take up behind it. I'll catch you later, Lumia. Thanks for tuning in. Didn't mean to ping that. Always happens when I alt tab. Fun fact, I only have one monitor, so whenever I check out the Twitch chat, I have to alt tab. It's actually really annoying. Okay. Yeah, nothing too crazy really happening just yet. Has Raucous? Okay, Raucous does have some gases. Cybercore's only coming down now. I mean, Manny did this too in one of his series. He got the Forge and Gateway. Maybe, yeah, this must just be something that, like, everyone knows about but me. Like, getting the cannons to defend your base. I didn't think people did this, because, like, Ravagers just fucked them up. But I guess people don't really go Ravagers and Marches anymore, do they? Yeah, both players just kind of macroing up, not really doing a whole lot. We do see a Twilight Council now coming up for Raucous. Not sure what we're gonna see him go for. One thing I've noticed from Raucous' play is he really likes to tech up. His macro doesn't necessarily isn't on par with his tech, if that makes any sense. Like, he'll get a tech, and then he will get a couple units out of it, but he won't really like fully utilize it. For example, like if he gets you know, a Stardate, he might get a couple of oracles, but he's not gonna go like too far into it. He might, you know, he'll get
He'll get charged, but then he'll get a decent amount of zealots. He's not going to go too far into it. And like as we see here, like he's gotten pretty much every tech building in the book here. You know, you don't often see Twilight into Stargate into DTs. It's not really common, and I think it costs him a bit. It's a bit greedy, but of course, you know, if it works out, it works out. And Raucous actually has a lot more probes than Boo has workers up in moment. So I guess that harass in the early game with the denial of the bases did kind of pay off. Okay, we do see a Phoenix here now. Not sure how many he's going to get out of that. Because like he's going for charge +1 and Dark Templar. So that's a huge commitment to a lot of different things. And I guess like to iterate on my point earlier, it's like you kind of want to, as Protoss always found, like they like to commit to one main thing and do that for a bit, and then they kind of do another thing, right? Like, but I mean, I'm no expert here. And now we've got 3 DTs coming into this base here. We're trying to get at that Spore Collar there, but those drones block him pretty well. The Dark Templar's not even going to get a whole lot of them. I think only 2 or 3 drones went down there. Another Dark Templar on its way in, but that one's just going to die pretty quickly. And yeah, only a couple drones died to those 4 DTs. That's really not great trades. And Boo now feels pretty safe, and he's going to just drone up. And finally, he might be able to catch up in the worker lead here. But another thing, too, to mention is that even though Raucous has a lot of workers, like, he's almost double saturated at that base. Like, you know, double the amount of saturation, whatever you want to say. So it's not efficient. Is my volume done?
I wasn't standing as close to my mic, or not standing, sorry, sitting as close to my mic. Is that better now? I guess we'll see whenever I catch up. I have no clue what my delay is like. Okay, so Rock is finally going to take a third base here. Third base. Okay, yeah, I was just leaning back a bit. It's crazy how much more the mic picks up when you're only a couple centimeters closer or farther away. Okay, so we have a couple charge zealots here. They're gonna get cleaned up. Not a whole lot really came of that. And I think Boo's just kind of progressing along here in a standardish fashion. One thing Boo's done though is he's kept a really low drone count for most of this game. I think he's just unsure of what's going on. And of course, you know, once you over drone, you can't undrone. Alright, Boo's army here is going to start heading towards this third base. Not a whole lot of units here for Raucous, so I think this push could very well just end this game right here. Charge zealots running in there, that Voider gets picked off pretty much immediately, and these charge zealots aren't going to offer a whole lot of resistance here to these Hydras and Roaches. And yeah, I think just not enough stuff, you know? Alright, so I think that should... Oh, that's unfortunate. Those units are on hold position, so that Immortal's trying to bump its way through there, but unfortunately not going to be able to get out to this third base in time. And we have 2 Disruptors coming in at a time for Raucous, so I guess, you know, if those get really good connections and kill all of Boo's army, there's still a chance. Boo's economy isn't the greatest, and Raucous still has a decent amount of money in the bank. Foot-to-hour charge is going down. Those 2 disruptors will come out shortly. But can they get their shots off is the question. That Mothership Core will go down. First disruptor ball going down. Oops, decent amount of units killed there. And, you know, those got pretty good shots. I'll give them that, but there's just nothing to follow up here. And GG is called. Boo gonna take game number 1. Oops. Okay. So, getting into the thick of things here, we have spawning up here in the top left in the teal. It is Rockist. And in the bottom right, we have in the red, playing Zerg, it is Boo. Currently up 1 game. 1 more game, and he will solidify his spot. Okay, so Rockist, he's been pretty consistent with this like early game harass. I think he likes to set the tone of the game, which I think fits well with his playstyle, his mentality here. He really seems to like to dictate the pace. He just needs to learn how to do that effectively. You know, when you play versus someone, like every player has kind of like a different response, we'll say. So like, you can't do the same thing every single game and dictate the pace of that game. You have to kind of tailor your response to that player. And so you just kind of need to get a hang of generally controlling the game as opposed to, you know, doing it versus one person. Like, for example, when you play versus someone you know, it's very easy to control the pace of the game because you know what they're going to do, and so you can tailor your responses around that. But when you're playing versus someone you don't know as well, you know, I think this might be one of the first times that Boo and Rockist have played. This might be unfamiliar to Rockist on how to deal with this, or how to deal with Boo in particular, how to throw him off gear or whatever. Alright, so Boo is taking 2 expansions pretty quickly. And Rockets is doing this thing again where you get the forge and the cannon. I'm not sure how much I like this. Like, I don't know, it seems to do okay. But like, it just doesn't seem to like accomplish a whole lot. Like, the players don't get a huge lead on their upgrades from it. They don't like, I don't know, they don't really feel that safe. Like, sure, they're not gonna die to a Baneling bust, but it just doesn't seem like it accomplishes a whole lot. I mean, I've seen a couple people do it. Not a big fan. I'll give it that. I think this game's probably just gonna end up and do another kind of like standardish macro game. Once it seems like, even though Rocket seems to like to set the pace, he really likes to kind of like do something early on to throw them off, like with the, you know, the pylon block, the early probes, but then he just likes to tech up a lot. So we'll probably see him tech into a couple different things, try some things out, maybe get some Templars in somewhere, maybe get some Oracles. And then we'll see what he does after that. So he is getting a Stargate. So last time he got a Stargate, he just got the 1 Phoenix. And he didn't really commit to anything else. Like normally when, you know, someone commits to a Stargate, they might get 2 Oracles, you know, 2 or 3 Phoenix. They might get a couple things. But Rocket's only got the 1 Phoenix, which I really didn't feel like was that great of an investment. It didn't really kill that many Overlords. I think it got 1, maybe 2. So it wasn't the best investment for him to make. And he is getting the Twilight Council as well, so he might be getting charged. Is what I think is probably going to be on the way. So we've got a Phoenix on a production tab. Alright, so that Phoenix is now out. We'll see if we see any more. I'd really like to see him get, you know, 2 or 3, you know. Maybe even go up to 5 or 6. Okay, so he is getting another one. It kind of bothers me how like the Phoenix just like move, stop, shoot, move, stop, shoot. But he is picking off a couple of Lords. We got some Zerlings on the map here from Boo, probably just here to deny a 3rd base for as long as I can. And they're just gonna run up, see what's up. They see there's a couple add-ups here, sentries, some zealots, and they see some upgrades going. That's pretty much all they need to. And it looks like Rockets will be going for a couple Phoenix this game. So there's not a whole lot of anti-air here. There is those queens, but we don't have any spores, we don't have hydras. So these oracles can feel free to zip in and out. There's some spore crawlers there and then mineral lines there. So they can't dive in, but they can feel free to go around, poke at some overlords, force a response. That's fine. You know? As long as I keep the overlords at home. Yeah, and they'll also get to see what's up. They'll see how many units Boo has. You know, he gets a lot of vision on the map from this. You'll see where the units are. You should see those Banes coming in. And you should know, okay, like, there's an attack coming. It's on its way. So Photon Cannon building here at the 3rd base. He's denying the 4th and spreading creep all over this base. And these Zerglings over here. Swinging it around. And here we see a robotics facility on the way now. Is there a robo facility somewhere? Okay, there's one. So he does have the ability to produce robo units. I was gonna say, like, how the fuck would he get the, the robotics facility if at the bay? Or vice versa, I guess I should say. I just rhymed there. Yeah, Boo's a very passive player, it seems, when he knows he doesn't have to make anything happen. So he's just gonna kind of sit back, macro up comfortably. He's not gonna push himself too hard. He's not gonna try any like multi-pronged harassment. I think he knows what he needs to do. Nice force fields there, forcing all those Banelings back, but a big one goes off on those sentries actually. If Boo targets those down, those are just gonna be some very valuable pickoffs. Some more ads being warped in now, and you should force these Zealots back. Or not Zealots, sorry, Hydras. Of course, Hydras still trade pretty well. We do have an Immortal alive though, and another one on the way. So yeah, these Hydras should get pushed back. But Boo is on 70 drums, and this game, it is a reverse of the last one, where Rockist was ahead on Workers for quite a while, but this time it's Boo. Boo has a commanding lead in economy. I don't think there's much Rockist could do to punish this. Like, these Phoenix could run in and try to do some damage, but there's Hydras there, so you have to be careful about that. And he's also not really microing them currently. Probably back at home doing something else. Just making sure his other stuff's going well. He's gonna pick off an Overlord here. Just sees what's up, sees the army. He's
picking up some of these units, but he will lose a couple Phoenix here. Actually, he might even lose a lot of them. Loses 3 out of the 5, so that's not great news here. If only 2 Phoenix, your ability to do anything on the map is very diminished. And yeah, also we have, okay, finally we have +2 attack on the way. But Boo's gonna have +2 melee and +2 ranged for his units here very quickly. And that's gonna be pretty tough for Ruckus to deal with, especially with these low range adepts. The adepts have to get pretty close to fight. Of course they are melee, but still, like, their range isn't that big. And they're gonna have a tough time versus a huge amount of Lynx and Hydras with +2. Ruckus is on 4 bases though, so he has a pretty solid economy going right now, and the supplies aren't too far off. Ruckus has a lot of money in the bank. If he could spend a bit more of it, that'd be great. He might also just be waiting to see what happens, and that Mothership Core does go down from those Hydralisks. Those units a bit out of position here. Big Balian hits going off on these Adepts. And those Hydras, they will outrange the force fields, but those force fields will push them back out of here for now. Boo's setting up a good concave. There is a Colossus there, so he has to show a bit of respect, but that's the only form of splash damage that Ruckus has with disarming. And those Adepts are not doing very well versus these +1 Hydras. +2 just kicking in now. Bit of an anti-timing actually for Boo, but doesn't matter. His economy's been so solid for so long, and he's just able to come in here and wipe out all of Ruckus' forces. And GG is called, and Boo will advance into top seed for this group. And Ruckus, losing 2-0, will get knocked out of the qualifiers. Better luck next time, Ruckus. So, hopefully you get a better group next year. Or that won't be next year, but next season. Alright, so my voice is getting a bit tired. I'm getting a bit tired. I've been casting for, let's see, only like 2 hours. But yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for everyone who donated. That was Shazam. He donated some bits. Love you. I will hopefully cast some more of these games at another time. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I appreciate it so much. And thanks for all the players for playing their games. We'll see you next time. Have a good night, everyone.